Hi, everybody. Welcome to The Right Side with Doug Billings. A big day for us here on The Right Side. We have with us Adam Thomas. Adam is running for state representative in the 26th district in Kansas. That's southern Johnson County, northern Miami County. And he's running, of course, on the Republican ticket, The Right Side. And Adam, Mr. Thomas, thank you for being here.
Thank you,
Appreciate
sir.
it. Yep,
Thank you for having me.
We look forward to the good conversation. Why don't you, begin, Adam, by telling our viewers why you in this election cycle and these crazy times that we're living in. What sets you apart? Why do we want to vote for you? I know I want to vote for you. Why should everybody else?
Well, first of all, thank you for not using the term unprecedented. That term has grown to be more of a nuisance than anything else. So crazy times is a good way to put it.
Yeah.
I think people should vote for me because when they look at the political spectrum, when they look at a post-COVID economy, what we need are common sense solutions. We need a steady hand at the helm. We don't need activists. Now is the time for leadership, not activism. There will be a time in politics where we get back to fighting for our own personal agendas, when the left fights for what they want, when we fight for what we want. But right now, the time is now for leadership. And that's what I've done. That's what I've proven the past 2 years in the legislature, and what I'll continue to do.
In the 26th district, as you travel and knock on doors and meet folks, what are one or two of the most common themes that you hear from the people? What's on their mind?
They're concerned about property tax. They're concerned about getting their kids back in schools, and they're concerned about the post-COVID economy. A lot of what I'm hearing is property taxes will go up, sometimes in double digits, and as we get out of this pandemic, there's a lot of people, seniors on a fixed income, that are seeing property tax increases and the costs of many, many things going up. I don't think we should put the burden on changing the lifestyle on them. I think the lifestyle change needs to begin in Topeka.
What's your experience in politics? How long have you been around and playing this political game?
Well, I started being active more or less on Facebook, debating and arguing with people back in 2011-12.
Yeah.
And 2014, I believe it was, I did a walk one day with Bob Montgomery, former state representative and also city councilman. And we sort of got to talking about how I sort of had a real nick for this kind of thing. In 2015, I decided to throw my hat out there and run for city council. There were 3 people in the race. I got 16% of the votes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it wasn't discouraging, more or less. It was okay. I've experienced it.
Yeah.
I will try again. I'm not out of this yet. And then I got nominated for treasurer of the Olathe Republican Party.
Okay, good.
I did that for 2 years, ran again for city council in 2017, got more of a plan, more of a structure, and we lost by 4 votes.
Oh my gosh.
4 votes.
4 votes.
And I said at the time, I'm out of politics. I'm going to stay. I got nominated for chair of the Olathe Republican Party. I said, I'm going to sit and do this for a while, and I'm going to enjoy my time filling precinct spots, all of that, working with candidates. And then the opportunity came up in 2018 to run for state rep. And at first, I kind of was hesitant. At the end of the day, you think about these things, you pray about them, you talk to your wife, and that's a huge piece, support system. You have to have a strong support system.
Right.
I've got a wonderful woman in my life, my wife, Kristen. We've got 5 children, 4 beautiful girls, and a little 2-year-old boy. And, they mean the world to me. And having their support and having their backing. And when you run, I said this the other night, it's not just the candidate involved. It's their whole system of support and their whole foundation family.
Right. That sounds awesome. And, you mentioned a couple of things right at the bat. Of course, the Republican Party, in my view, is the party that is not afraid to mention God. And the Republican Party is not the party that's afraid to mention faith and the divine providence that has really, forged and founded this country through the guidance and the principles and the intelligence of our founders. But you also mentioned the COVID deal and the closures of schools and so forth. We've had a lot of students from the Olathe School District on this program. My son is going to be a senior this year at Olathe South. I have another one who graduated from South in 2012. So, I have said on this program, Adam, that the virus won't touch these kids in the way, it's not the zombie apocalypse that we've been led to believe. It's not an automatic death sentence. And they've been the hopes and the dreams of these kids, kids that want to see an academic scholarship, come to fruition. They have real concerns about, not being able to visit colleges, where I can't learn on Zoom. How's that going to affect my grades and so forth? Athletic scholarships at risk because of sports being closed and modified and so forth. My point is that the anxiety, the frustration, and the hopelessness that these kids feel is much more relevant and real than the virus will ever be. I don't think the virus is going to touch as many kids as the fear of the unknown. So with all of that said, where do you stand on shutdowns, lockdowns, and kids getting back to school?
I think the kids need to be back in school. One thing I don't hear a lot about, and every time I try to bring it up, it's almost as if they assume that I want people to go back to school, everyone to get infected, and people to die. That's not it at all. What I would like to see is more focus on the mental health of these children. We're not talking about it. There are a lot of mental health issues that are going to come about after this, issues that we haven't even seen. I sit on the K through 12 budget committee. We talk about free and reduced lunches. We talk about children from homes that need that assistance, that depend on these schools, and they're not getting it. What is happening to those children? Are they getting fed? Are they getting treated at home correctly?
Yeah.
It's a huge worry. And I have 5 children, and I would not ever want my children to be in that position, but I can't help but think about what's going through their mind. Where are they? Like I said, are they eating? And it scares me. Their mental health long term is going to have more effect, as you said, than this virus, which, given their immune system, they can fight it. It's not a death sentence.
Right.
We have to get away from the fear mongering that if you get it, you're going to die.
For a guy who used to be in healthcare, I can tell you that we don't even get to 1/2 of 1% of death with COVID until we get to age 72. I mean, so, and the average life expectancy in this country is 78. So let's, I do think there's been wildly unnecessary panic about this thing, and that we do have to get these kids back in school.
Correct. One death is too many. However,
course.
the death of many due to drug overdose,
Right.
suicide,
Right.
child abuse, neglect, malnourishment, those far outweigh the long-term effects of the COVID pandemic.
You bet. So, property taxes. You mentioned that that's on the mind of voters. What do you see with regards to property tax issues that you can help remedy?
I think we have to talk about, are we going to continue to allow these random large increases? Do we put a cap on how much the local counties are allowed to increase their property taxes? Do we focus on, I know there's a bill that was started last year that we worked on. I believe Representative Chris Croft was working on it, about the golden age. A certain amount of time you live in your home at a certain age, you get a huge relief of property tax relief. And those are the most vulnerable when it comes to property taxes, are the people on a fixed income.
Right.
So if we don't take care of our seniors, they run out of money. Guess what? They sell their house, they move away, and that's revenue, tax revenue, that not only we lose, but it's also, they're not gonna shop here.
Yeah, right.
They're not gonna live here. They're not gonna contribute to our economy. They're gonna move elsewhere, and the state of Kansas loses. So then what? Do we raise taxes again?
Right.
Or do we come up with a better formula to make it more friendly?
Do you see it within the realm of possibility that people, perhaps when they reach a certain age, would be exempt from property tax? I mean, the retired couple who owns their home for the last 25 years, their mortgage has been paid off forever, or a car, a vehicle. Is that within the realm of how you guys think?
I was just talking to a constituent about that yesterday, and I think that is certainly a possibility and something to consider. I think also our governor ran on eliminating food sales tax. Last year, we passed a bill out of the House that rather than go straight from where it is to zero, we reduce it by 1% over the next 4 years. So it slowly gets that down without that blanket shell shock of loss of revenue.
Right.
And it was vetoed. So,
see, that's the kind of craziness that we mentioned our governor. I think she's a socialist, and I've said it before. How do you control her? How does the legislature control the governor?
Right now, being at a session, we depend on the State Finance Council to help as far as the funding. We depend on the Leadership Coordinating Council to work when there's an executive order signed and all of that. I would love to get called back for a special session and go back right now, put the governor in check, put the policies in check, and let us assist her, but as well sort of force her hand when it comes to spending this money. We have the relief from the declaration of emergency. The money was sitting in the Treasury. Even the unemployment. Let's look at the unemployment. Missouri, I get people that are calling me from Missouri saying we've already been paid out, and friends in Kansas are going, we don't even have an answer yet. Yeah. The money is being mismanaged from the top, and we have to put her in check. The issue is, again, with us being out of session, what do? I would love to go back right now.
Yeah.
However, I think the governor knows if we do go back, then there will be that checks and balances. So it may be January.
Oh, goodness. For the sake of our viewers and for me, what is what's your calendar? When is the legislature in session? When are you out?
January 11th, we go in. We're usually there through the end of February, get about a week off. We go back through March, and then about 3.5 weeks in April, we're out. And then we go back in May for what's called veto session. Any unfinished business, any vetoes the governor signed, we have the chance to overrule that. And then any last-minute legislation we want to work on. From then on, we're out. So, for example, right now with the mask mandate, the county commission holds the key there. Okay. So what I've done is I've had conversation after conversation with Commissioner Brown, Commissioner Klicka. I've worked with them, and I've pointed all my constituents and folks that don't even live in my district towards them and said, you've got to put the pressure on the county commission. And I truly appreciate, especially Mike Brown, the work he's done to try to end this from a constitutional standpoint. His leadership has been intact and to a T, and he's not afraid to battle with these people.
Good to
and
hear.
that's what sort of I strive to look up to as I move further along in this political process.
Again, as we think about the upcoming election, and locally here, we want to focus with you on, southern Johnson County and northern Miami. But let me go broader just for a moment with regards to the national scene, and with regards to what we've seen specifically this year. 2020 has been, a chaotic mess in so many ways. We have the issue of law and order. We have the issue of closures, businesses run out, and again, destroying more businesses and people's financial ability than the virus will ever touch. And we have the whole issue of, Trump versus Biden, in as much as, does I know I have my opinion, and I don't want to preload and make anyone else out there think that I've set this up with you. I think Trump's going to win in a landslide. I just think the people that we talk to, the people that we've listened to, I think that I just can't imagine that Trump loses this. However, if he does, God help us. What are your views on the drastic differences that are presented to the American people on a national level?
I believe there are the Constitution is at stake here. That's
Yes.
a big one.
Yeah.
We talk about our Second Amendment rights. You and I both know that Kamala Harris has made it very clear she wants gun restrictions. Beto O'Rourke will most likely be involved, if I had to guess, in a Biden administration.
Yeah.
They are coming after our Second Amendment, which is why having the NRA endorsement, working with them on projects is so important, because this is not just a good versus evil, left versus right. This is rights versus tyranny, in my opinion.
Right.
I think we have a constitution, and it's in serious jeopardy if this election goes the wrong way. Will we survive it? Absolutely. Will we ever have another Republican president after this? Absolutely. But I tell you, I am worried about the Constitution, our rights as citizens and individuals. Yeah. The Supreme Court is also a huge thing. We all know that he's going to stack the court if he wins. Yeah. We know it. Yeah. So all of these things, you can love Trump or you can like some things and not like everything that he's done. But this is more important than ever that we reelect Donald Trump for those reasons.
I think that most people that are capable of any degree of critical thinking would look at the two situations and go, even if, on the other hand, I never could envision myself voting for Trump. I don't like the way that he tweets. I don't like his personality, et cetera, et cetera. You insert critical thinking into the mix, and they have to be able, I would hope, they're able to think, look, okay, I don't like the way he tweets, I don't like his personality, but I don't like anarchy a lot more. And so therefore, Trump's really good. If I vote for Trump and he wins, I got 4 more years of him. If this side wins, God knows how much anarchy is going to come down.
Correct.
Yeah. So, having said all of that, with regards to Sharice Davids, how in the world does Sharice Davids get elected in basically a Republican, or at least it was for many, many decades, a Republican state, a Republican district?
I think sometimes, often as Republicans, we assume too much. I think with our messaging, I think there was a struggle there leading up to the election of Sharice Davids. I think somewhat of a complacency, like, oh, this is Kansas, will always be red. Well, newsflash, we got to fight. They are organized. Their messaging is clear. They're raising money. They're structured. They're focused on one thing and one. Now they smell blood in the water. They got the governor's seat. They got Sharice Davids. They know they can win in Kansas, and they're going to focus their efforts on here hard, and we have to do the very same thing. We have to get our act together, organized, structured, everything in place, and we got to make sure our message is very, very clear.
Well, I can't recall a more articulate message than we've had here from Adam Thomas, ladies and gentlemen. Adam, before we say so long, I know that I promised you I would limit us to 20 minutes or so. I know you're busy, and this is the season where you need to be busy.
Yes, sir.
One more time for the voters and the viewers out there. I mean, we hear you loud and clear. What's your appeal to them? Why, again, let's just, 1 or 2 minutes of your closing statement, if you will, to the voters.
Again, what we need right now are leaders, not activists. What we need is integrity. We need integrity. Folks that work as servants of the people, not servants of a particular ideology, of a particular party. There are tough decisions that are going to have to be made. There's budget cuts we're facing. Do we start with immediate cuts? No, we start with revenue streams. That's what I want to focus on. Do we push our agenda? Do we let them push theirs? No. Now is the time for leadership to take action. I've been a servant of the people. I've always tried to listen to both sides. If you live in my district, you send me an email or a text, I reply to you. Some of the best conversations I've had have been with people that don't agree with me, because we always try to find a way to come to some common ground. Whether that's my opponent, who's been to my office several times in Topeka, or anybody else, we always can find a way to have common ground. Right now, that's what we need. But we also need to not abandon our principles as conservatives. And that's what I'll do.
Excellent. Adam, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, Adam Thomas, the 26th District of Kansas, Southern Johnson, Northern Miami County. November 3rd is right around the corner. Please vote for Mr. Thomas. Adam Thomas, the 26th District. Thanks again for watching us on The Right Side with Doug Billings. Please subscribe to us on all of the major podcast platforms. We're out there. Just choose your favorite. We're on all of them. And head over to YouTube. Find us over there at The Right Side with Doug Billings and give us a follow. We'll meet again. Cheers. Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Doug Billings here on The Right Side. You know, every once in a while we have a chance to meet some really, really nice politicians. Rob Olson is one of those guys. Rob Olson is the state senator of Kansas from the 23rd District, and I encourage you to look him up and do your research and vote for Rob Olson on November 3rd. We are in need of his leadership in the Kansas State Senate. He will control a socialist governor, and he will implement and follow the principles and foundations set by our framers and our founding fathers. He's a staunch believer in the Constitution of the United States, and I think that he is exactly what we need in Topeka to help us in the state of Kansas, Johnson County, and the 23rd District. So, ladies and gentlemen, as you head to the polls, Rob Olson, Kansas State Senator, District 23. Cheers.